welcome to the Notion Club. Today with me is Muskego Brown, as usual, and my name is Mariah. Today we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things, actually. We're going to have, later on for my segment, we're going to be talking about the wild witches of the political spectrum. And Ethan he just really wants to talk about what's going on in today's, I guess, what would you call it?
We are just coming out of the election here, and it looks like we are going to have a new president.
Yeah.
And, but not before some more drama. We've got Mr. Donald Trump here being as salty as fuck about losing. And it's kind of fun to watch. I mean, so I guess it's no surprise because Trump, for him, it seems like the lowest and the worst thing that a person could do is lose. I don't know if you remember this or not, but it seems like whenever he's really trying to get under somebody's skin, his worst insult is to call them a loser. John McCain was a loser because he was captured in war. Soldiers in general are losers when they're captured. Anybody who loses anything is a loser, and now he's just lost.
He's a kid on the playground.
Remember when, before he was elected, while he was campaigning, he was saying, like, we're going to win so much that you're going to be sick of winning?
I do not remember that.
To him, winning is like the highest virtue of anything. If you can win, then you're good. If you lose, then you're worthless. And yeah. So anyway,
you would think
he's having to go through those motions here.
You would think with his ego, like, that he would try and spin this around to that he still is winning, or that he is still won, even though he's not the president. He's still, like, come out on top.
Funny you say that, because he is still insisting that he's won. Even though, so he made one very, very vague comment that started to suggest that maybe he lost the election.
Okay.
But he's still running with this narrative that the election was rigged.
Yep.
There's been cheating going on. He really did win the election. I pulled up today, because I don't have a Twitter, but you can still look at people's Twitter pages. I pulled up his Twitter today, and it's like every few hours, every single day, he's still tweeting something about the election and how he won.
Wow.
I think it was, November 16th. That was yesterday.
Yep.
Let's see. I won the election. Exclamation point. That's him yesterday. So
how?
Anyway,
how?
4 lawsuits that he has filed have now been thrown out. One quote that I saw, a judge said that one of the lawsuits was hearsay within hearsay. So these lawsuits from all looks right now are completely baseless, but he is still hammering this idea that cheating happened and that he really won.
Oh. Although, from what I've gathered, lawsuits aren't that uncommon at the end of a presidential election. Like, from what I've gathered, like, the lawsuits are just checking that the ballots were correctly filed under the what is it called? The proper political, like, party.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. To bring a suit, you need to have, actual cause. You can't just say, well, I just want to make sure that this was fair, file a lawsuit.
Okay.
You can ask for a recount, but to file a lawsuit, you need to actually have, like, cause, damages, stuff like that. And this judge that tossed out one of 4 of these lawsuits that were tossed out was like, yeah, there's absolutely nothing here except
it's baseless.
Hearsay within hearsay. It's just I don't remember when exactly he said this, but I remember one time hearing him say that like a box of ballots was pulled out of a river somewhere, and of course everybody all over the internet was looking for the story, like when did this happen, where did it happen?
Yeah,
and it was just made up.
Trying to like fact
made
check
up a story about a box of ballots that were found in a river, and not true.
Oh no! Oh no! It's
yeah,
brought tea.
He's still,
it's brought tea to the table.
Not including Biden on, intelligence reports and stuff like that you normally would do. You start bringing in the next, the president to be, and start, getting them prepared to take office, and he's not letting that happen.
Basically what he wanted from President Obama, correct? If you remember the end.
Yeah,
right,
which, and all, like, and Obama did that, even though, I mean, like, I don't know if you remember how crazy it was in 2016, but Hillary won the popular vote, but Trump won the delegates, and yeah, she the next day conceded and said, yeah, it's over. She didn't file her own law. I mean, as crazy as Hillary is, she didn't file lawsuits, and
I thought
Obama,
she did.
No. She probably asked for a couple recounts in a couple places, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think she filed any lawsuits.
Oh, okay.
Alleging fraud,
Okay, interesting. It's wild. Like, honestly, as apolitical, I mean, we've had this discussion before on the Notion Club. I can't talk. Per usual, guys. That, like, you and I tend to be apolitical when it comes to these things. I don't know if you've changed your mindset on that, but I haven't.
No, I haven't either. For me, it's just, it's the best reality TV that is there to be had.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump is a reality star. That is what he is. And he's very good at
bringing
entertainment that way. I'm very entertained by watching his saltiness right now.
Yes.
I wanted to play a little game with you if you're willing to play along.
Oh, okay.
I mean, obviously it's not done and over yet. He's still president right now, but assuming everything goes the way it's supposed to go and he leaves office.
Okay.
I want to know what you think he's going to do post-president, or after he's out.
Okay.
Is he going to stay in politics? Is he going to go back to reality TV? Is he just gonna golf? What do you see Donald Trump's next move as?
Ooh. Well, I have heard talk that he said that he would leave the country if he lost. I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think he's going to say, screw you all.
I've not heard that one.
I haven't fact-checked it, to be sure, but this was like hearsay that I heard. So, I mean,
sure,
could be entirely like BS, but I heard that and I was like, nope, he's gonna say, screw y'all, I'm staying, like, this is my country. Like, he's gonna go back on his word, if that was even his word to begin with. But I don't know, I don't think that he would stay in politics. I think that, and I don't think he would go back to reality TV. I don't think anyone would want to have him, really.
See, I kind of disagree. I think give it a year, maybe two, I think he's going to be the new Bill Clinton.
Oh, you think?
Now that he's, like, stripped of any power to actually harm anybody, people are going to kind of look at him as, like... I mean, I don't know if... Before he was president, before he decided he was going to run for president, he was in every other rap song. He was in movies and TV shows. Like, everybody loved Donald Trump. That rich playboy.
Yep.
And
yeah, because that's what he was.
Something tells me, like, he really does have charisma and knows how to work a crowd. And I think it's just a matter of time before he does that, and after he becomes harmless again, people will start loving him again.
You think?
I really do, yeah.
I feel like I could see maybe a memoir come out from him, and
Oh yeah.
all of his thoughts about being president of the United States.
Oh, you know what? I definitely think he's going to jump on Rogan and any other podcast he can and shit talk like no other president has ever shit talked before. He is going to give away, maybe not like, national security secrets, but like he will definitely give us insights as to what it's like being president. Like no other president
I could see that. Yeah, I would definitely. It would be very interesting, I think.
Yeah. There is also talk. This actually might keep him hated. There's a lot of talk of him starting his own news network.
Oh, I was gonna say that I could see him trying to create his own like reality TV show on like what it was like to be in office, or like documentary series. But I could definitely see a news network.
Basically, the idea is that the conservative crowd, since the election, now like hates Fox News. That used to be their jam, and now Fox is not conservative enough. And so you have like OAN and QAnon and all these like obscure right-wing news sources are popping up, and it's ripe for one needs to come in and just take the entire market. And who better to do that than Donald Trump?
Oh
no. So anyway, there is a lot of speculation that he's going to start a news network. I don't know if he'll go that route, but I do myself see him staying somewhat in politics.
How so? Can I ask, like...
I think, well, like I said, I think he's going to take every opportunity he can to shit talk.
Okay.
And so, if nothing else, that way he's going to stay relevant politically. He's definitely going to continue railing against Joe Biden for as long as he's president.
Yeah.
Keep calling him Sleepy Joe, loser.
Sleepy Joe. Is that a play on Sloppy Joes, do you think?
It could be. Yeah, it kind of, it has that same...
Sorry, I like food.
Sleepy Joe.
He's like a child on the playground, though. Like, just the biggest, loudest kid.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But anyway, that's the little game I wanted to play with you. Place your bets.
No more questions like that?
Let me think if I could.
I was thinking like this was gonna be like a full out game.
Oh no. Not quite. I'm not that creative.
Come on, Ethan.
I'd be working for Hasbro.
I feel like that would be the worst kind of job, trying to come out with new board games. Like, ugh. I can't even play most board games because I don't understand the rules. Like, it takes me a long time. Well, you've tried. Do you remember Catan when you showed us Catan? It took me a while to get that game. And Catan, like, now is, like, super easy. Like, looking back, it's like, oh my gosh.
I didn't think it took you that long. A game or two. But I do remember.
No, we were, like, on the fourth game.
After leaving you guys while I was visiting, a couple days later, you and Pool Boy had to call me with a question. You guys were having a little bit of an argument about who gets a point or something.
Yes.
I had to settle that little dispute, but...
Pool Boy! Oh my god! Yes, yeah, no, like, most games, like, I don't get, like, I think it's like Uno. Uno is the one that I struggle with the most. But it's generally because so many people play it in so many different ways. Well, like, there's always, like, different rules, it seems like, with different groups. And so
yeah, I do know what you're talking. There are definitely house rules when it comes to Uno.
yes,
For sure.
yeah, house rules. But the problem is like before I even get to the house rules, I need like a refresher on how the whole game even works, and that's just not great. Like, I think I would hate having to come up with new board games. Probably why I don't have that career. I would get anxious and be like, "This game sucks." Throw the board away.
What's your opinion of Monopoly? This is like one of the most divisive questions you can ask, I feel like.
I don't think so. I really like Monopoly. It's fun. But it's because I think usually, like, I do have a winning streak when it comes to Monopoly. I tend to, I'm that, like, person that if you're good at something, like, you like it because you'll continue playing it and win. If I'm not good at something, I don't want to play with it. Like, I don't want to play. Like, no, sorry.
Losing's no fun, right, Donald?
Pathetic. Yeah, exactly. Losers.
Who wants to hang out with a loser?
Exactly. Yeah, no, and I think it's, definitely my ego, and it's definitely, like, very petty of me, like, because if I just tried a little bit harder and continued to practice, I probably would get good at something. But immediately, like, nope. Like, video games. Growing up, I only played, like, Crash Bandicoot and, like, Clone Wars and a couple others. And Sonic Hedgehog. So, like, I would play those games, but anything else, like, going forward, I could not play. So I was just like, I'm not going to play video games. Video games are stupid. And, like, they kill your brain cells. And then, like, now, even trying to play a video game, it's just like, nope, I get anxious. Like, I remember, I think the last time that I actually played Clone Wars, I was playing a new version or something like that, and I was shooting all of my guys and didn't realize till the end because they were all in white, and so I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I think that's where like the sadness came in, was like, nope, not gonna do this anymore. I remember this one time at like 12 years old, like we would always have our friends around like the town like come over and we would all play at each other's houses, but I remember we played this like car racing game. I don't remember what it was called, but there was like, it's a split screen and you have your car and then someone else's car. And I thought I was the car on the top and I thought I was doing so freaking well. I won. I even like threw the controller. It was like, hot in your face. And then everyone started laughing at me. They were like, Mariah, you are at the bottom of the screen. Sure enough, I was at the bottom, still at the finish line, going like just in the wall, crashed up, like not even trying. I thought that was the other person, and I was like, yep, I hate video games. Yes, so, Why do you think Monopoly is so divisive for you?
Well, no, it's just that, like, at least in my experience, people either love Monopoly or hate it.
Oh, yeah.
There's no, like, yeah, it's all right. It's an okay game. It's, oh my God, I love Monopoly, or I will never play Monopoly for the rest of my life.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
It's also fun playing with new people, though. I enjoy Monopoly. When you play with new people, everybody's got a different approach to the game. Like, let me ask you this. If, Park Place and Boardwalk, right? The two blue. If I were to land on and buy Park Place, and then afterward you land on and buy Boardwalk, if you wanted to buy Park Place from me so that you own both of those blue properties, what to you is a fair price for Park Place?
I don't know. I guess whatever is reasonable. I kind of always just buy up as much properties as possible.
See, that's the question. Like, what is reasonable? To me, like, $2,000 is around the ballpark that I would charge for Park Place if you had Boardwalk.
I think it would depend on how much money I had in the bank. I would have to like assess like, all right, how much am I willing to lose out on? Is this like going to actually bring me like a steady income? I don't know.
Right.
I don't take chances.
I've played with people who would say $2,000 is absolutely ridiculous. Here's $500. And then I've played with people who say like $2,000 would be a steal. It should be like $5,000.
Why do I feel like Caleb is the first?
I've never played with Caleb.
Really? I feel like Caleb would be like, okay, that's a ridiculous asking price. I'm going to lowball you and see if you'll take it.
Oh, he would definitely try to get it from me below what it's worth. That's for damn certain.
But he would like lowball you to the extreme, and it would be like, Caleb, why are you even trying this?
If
Sorry,
you
Caleb.
were trying to then turn around and sell me Boardwalk, he would definitely try to get $5,000 out of me for Boardwalk.
Oh yeah. No, he would like take everything you're worth and your grandma too.
Sorry for shit talking you, Caleb, but it's true and you know it. You play this way in Catan. Seriously, his starting negotiation for a resource card in playing Catan is like he starts at 4 for 1. If you want this one card that you're asking for, you got to give me 4 of yours.
What an outrageous man!
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's why no poker with Caleb, nothing like that. Sorry, Caleb. I love how we're just talking about our mutual friend, and people that are going to be listening to this are like, what are they talking about? Like, I'm going to fast forward to get to the good stuff.
I feel like everybody has a Caleb in their life, though, right? I mean, everybody knows that guy who's got to be on the winning end of a deal.
Yeah. Oh, he's an archetype. Caleb the archetype.
He is.
Wait, what archetype would that fit in with, like, from Jung, do you think?
I don't know offhand if it would fall under any of the Jungian archetypes. At least I can't think of any right now. That in particular.
Come on, Caleb. Or Ethan. Disappointing. Dissatisfied. Disgrace.
I need to brush up on the Jungian archetypes. I haven't read Jung in quite a while.
I still have yet to read that book that you sent me. It's the Dream one. It's literally next in line.
It's his autobiography.
Yeah, I've got that on
Dreams
on my next to read list. Right now I'm reading a pretty hefty book that's like 500 pages on the Unseen Realm, but I feel like it would be a good
those two tie
transition
perfectly together.
That's what I thought. So one is the Unseen Realm, and it's kind of just like the spiritual world and the terrestrial world. It's by Michael Heiser, who's like a biblical professor. And he specializes in like the Hebrew language, all that kind of stuff. He's really fascinating, actually. And then it's just really dense because it reads like almost like what would be the word, collegiate book? I don't know. It's just very dense. And then the second one is only like 100 pages, but there's still like a lot of things to like think over and process. So I'm taking that one slowly. It's called like What Does God Want? And that's just kind of like in the end, what does like God want from humanity? So it's been really interesting, but I feel like it would be a good transition into Jung after those two books are finished.
For sure, yeah.
And even if this Unseen Realm takes me a long time, but I finish with the second one, I might just start his in the meantime and go between them, just because I do want to get it out of the way.
Well, let me know when you do start it, because I've been wanting to reread it, and so I'll probably at that point be willing to start it back up again with you.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. We could have a book club.
Yeah, he's
like I've always
so
wanted.
Many amazing insights. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, hey, in all fairness, I have bought and started to read a couple of the same books that we've agreed on.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Thanks for telling me.
The that one about Paul Amadeus Dynek.
Oh, yeah, the time traveler.
Yeah, you were perfectly aware of that book. Yeah.
We heard about this time traveler guy on this podcast called Mysterious Universe, and he's got like some crazy insight into what like the future looks like. But from what I do remember you telling me that you started it, but you said that it was like much more boring than what the podcast
No, it's not
made it
that
out
it's
to seem.
boring. It's that it's too entertaining for me to believe. It read too much like a fairy tale, and I about halfway through started going, okay, I don't know if this guy really had this vision or if he's now just trying to write a novel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could have just been like having these visions on some kinds of things, you know?
Yeah, supposedly in a coma.
Oh, that's
but, I
right,
mean,
yeah.
He's just got so many vivid memories and stories where he's like quoting himself and other people, and I don't know. I was having a hard. It's still a great story, but I still haven't finished it. And I don't believe his story as much as
it's hard to wrap your mind around it. Yeah, because they made it seem very believable. But some of the things that he talked about, like that he addressed in the future, seemed to be pretty on par with what was going on. It seemed relevant.
Yeah, and then some things were also slightly off.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, he was at one point. Mysterious Universe was kind of trying to make it sound like he was describing television. And when I read it, it didn't quite come off as accurate as what television looks like right now.
Okay.
I mean, who knows? Maybe television will develop into what he was describing, but right now I was like, it's close, but that's not really what we have right now.
Wait, could you refresh my memory on what that was, television-wise? Do you remember?
Well, I don't remember the particulars, but I remember Mysterious Universe basically saying, like, it was a picture, but it was, like a motion picture. And they were trying to say that, like, this Paul Amadeus Dynek guy was trying to describe what a screen is. And when I read it, I wasn't really getting that impression. It was like, I don't really know what he is trying to describe here.
Do you think it could have been a screen in the future, like from us? Because like that's what I'm saying.
It may not be television right now. Maybe he is describing something that comes later, but like it didn't quite. I mean, I love those guys from Mysterious Universe, but I think they were hyping it up just a little bit.
I mean, I love them too, but they tend to do that. I will say, I heard something interesting about time travel. I think I sent you the article, but it was scientists now are thinking that time travel can be possible without messing up the time continuum. You know how like in I don't know, the media, there's generally like, oh, if you were to go back in time, like you could, I don't know, kill Hitler early or something and stop the mass Holocaust that happened, right? Or the genocide. But they're saying that no, you would go back, and even if you were to like knock off Hitler, say, this is just an example, this is not what the scientists were saying, but if you were to like use that as an example, Hitler or someone else, like either Hitler would manage to recover or someone else would come into his place and still the same atrocities would take place. So like you could mess up how things happened within that historical like period, but it wouldn't mess up the end result. That end result would still happen. And I thought that was really interesting.
What would happen to, you mentioned this guy that would replace Hitler. What would happen to his life then?
It would be similar. It would almost take on, not necessarily that he would become Hitler, but, you know, and I don't know if that's a great example to use, but basically, like, whatever happened will happen in some form, and it will, like, still have that same end result. So if there was, like, a replacement for Hitler or something like that, it's most likely that that person would cause the same damage. Because from what I was reading, obviously, like, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but regardless of how you change a specific situation, it won't change the outcome. So, I don't know. I can
I've not
send
heard
you
that one
that.
before.
Yeah, I can post the link in the description for this podcast so you guys can check it out for yourself. It was really interesting. But I think it's above my pay grade when it comes to explaining that fully. So definitely check it out for yourselves, guys. Speaking of things, since we were talking about the time traveler guy in the coma, I was going to ask you about the new laws that took place in Oregon. Legalizing, what is it, shrooms and some other...
all kinds of drugs, actually. I think all of them, in fact.
All of them?
In the state of Oregon, yeah.
They didn't legalize meth, did they?
Let me pull up an article for you. I don't know about meth, but definitely heroin and cocaine and... yeah, I don't see why meth wouldn't be included in there. Because
meth is horrible for you.
Well, yeah.
But it's not legalized in the...
Well, okay.
In the way that we would think it's legalized, right?
It's not legal. It's still not legal. It's just decriminalized. So if you are caught, you can get fined up to $100, but you're just not going to be criminally charged anymore for possession of things like this.
So it doesn't go on your record. You don't go to jail, that kind of thing.
Right. Just $100 fine. And that's also like up to a certain amount. If you start, carrying bulk or large amounts of these drugs, then you can get slapped with a criminal charge.
Oh, okay. Because you're like looking like a drug dealer then at that point.
Right. It's definitely not legal to deal these things.
Okay. So wait, it's... Oh, go ahead, sorry. If it's decriminalized in certain amounts, how are they able to get it? Like, if it's illegal to sell it, then how are they able to get it?
Well, I mean, you in theory still go to your dealer and buy it.
Oh, okay.
Or make it, whatever your method is, but...
So there's no, like, Rite Aid where you can pull up and be like, I would like X amount of heroin.
No. Well, so this is where things start to get interesting. In Portugal, I believe, or some other countries out in that area, I believe there actually are, like, addiction treatment centers where they do give you the drug. Even if you don't have it, they'll give it to you because you're going through withdrawal.
Oh, okay, so you need small amounts.
And so I don't think there's a plan to do that in Oregon just now, but it's we're definitely, as far as I can tell, moving in that direction.
I think it's good, like, for the fact that it can be controlled a little bit better, and for the fact that we can begin to study the effects on society and then the repercussions fully. And then also for those people that are, like, addicts, it's not... They can go and get help without having to worry about being criminally charged.
Yeah, it's a more human approach to drug addiction. Rather than looking at people as criminals, who are addicted to drugs, it's not so much that they're trying to be gangsters and just break. It's not the point. It's that they are addicted and need real help.
Yeah.
I've got this, I'm sure many people will roll their eyes at this, but this article from Rolling Stone giving a more favorable look at this move. I just want to read a little blurb from it. Oregon has become the first state to decriminalize so-called hard drugs, substances such as heroin and cocaine that are most commonly associated with physical and psychological dependence. The addictive nature of these drugs drives home the argument that their use should be treated as a health issue rather than a criminal one. If the impact on Oregon is comparable to places like Portugal, where similar strategies have been tried, the measure will not only reduce drug arrests and overdose rates, but positively impact more sweeping and systemic issues like racial injustice. If other states are inspired to follow Oregon's lead, the passage of Measure 110, which is that legislation that just passed, might mark the beginning of the end of the drug war.
Interesting.
And, yeah, I'm no expert in this. I don't know if we have time to get into all of it, but from my perspective, the war on drugs is a failed war. By all counts, the drugs are winning the war on drugs.
The drugs win.
it's time, I think, that we take a new approach. And
and
whether
it's
or
like
not
you
this
said,
is
it's
the right one, we'll come to find out. But right now, locking people up for being addicted is not working.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's a more humanistic approach, and I think that's a smart move by Oregon. Is it the whole of the state, or is it just like Portland?
It started with Portland, I believe, last election. No, I take it back. Portland, last election, decriminalized mushrooms.
Okay,
and now
interesting.
this election, the entire state decriminalized all of them.
Do you see a pattern? It's like they're sweeping it in with the election so that it's kind of like a smoke screen. Like, look over there, the election, but we're going to do this on the side.
No, because the people of Oregon actually voted on it.
Oh, okay.
It
All right, I was going to say.
It was on the ballot.
Conspiracies.
I believe it had a 55% yes.
Okay. Interesting. 55%. Wow, that's like really close. That's not like a sweeping move.
No, you're right, for sure. Yeah, it's not quite as popular as the yeses for marijuana in states that are passing marijuana, which, again, this election there were a few more added, which is pretty awesome. But, as well as, Washington, D.C., I believe, also decriminalized mushrooms or psilocybin.
Interesting.
So,
which you would think would be like the last state.
Right. Why D.C.? But, hey, I'll take it.
It's for all the politicians. Hey, they can't be drug tested for that. Like, it doesn't show up on a drug test that you took shrooms. Right. Hey, maybe some good things will come from DC after all.
I don't see any negatives coming out of the mushrooms. I mean, I don't see any negatives whatsoever.
All right, so to switch gears a little bit, unless you had a little bit more for us.
That's all I had for you.
I wanted to tell you about something that I found on the internet regarding witches and pagans, if you're ready.
I am so ready for this.
Okay. So recently, I stumbled across an article that was talking about witches for Trump. And I was like, what? Generally, witches and pagans, I think, fly under the radar when it comes to things like this. Or I honestly never even thought of witches and pagans having a political, leaning. I thought they just kind of did their own thing. I mean, obviously they're people too, and they have their own priorities and that kind of thing. So It makes sense, in the afterthought, but when I first stumbled across it, it was just like, whoa, mind blow. So what got me onto this article was I've been watching a lot of modern day prophets, which has also been interesting. I love the tea on this. A lot of modern day prophets within the evangelical church have been prophesying for a while now that Trump would be the president for 2021. And so within all that, I came across this article, and these witches are also not prophesying, but they're trying to use their magical powers to help push Trump over the finish line, basically. And it was just, I don't know, I think it's hilarious.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
But what is most fascinating to me is that witches are just as politically polarized as you or I today, in today's like world. And I thought it just, again, it was a mind blow. Maybe not for some of you listeners, but for me it was. I live under a rock, okay, guys? But on this Facebook page, it's called On Witches for Trump, which again is a Facebook page that is liked by over 2,000 people. Conservative-leaning practitioners have flocked together on the Facebook page to create a community for themselves where they can be themselves without the fear of repression or mockery and that kind of thing. And online spaces just seem to be very important for witches, I guess, today, who've generally dealt with, like, discrimination throughout their lifetime. Although a 2014 Pew Research Center report estimated about 730,000 Americans identify as pagans or Wiccans, these people are scattered across the country, so Facebook, Reddit, and more recently, like TikTok, have become places for witches to meet with, like, their own kind, basically. Although the mockery and repression does not seem to be coming from the surrounding community, unlike the usual historical story arc, Salem. There seems to be trouble within their ranks. I guess as many practitioners are finding it especially difficult to discuss or even show like their Trump colors. And I guess for witches for Trump, as well as pagans for Trump and American pagans for Trump, these are all like social media groups on Facebook, pages, groups, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They're forming like their own online communities away from their other pagan colleagues as they're facing a form of discrimination from their viewpoint from the more left-leaning pagans or witches. Yeah. And to me, like, I was just like, whoa, mind below. Again, here is the witch world, which has always been discriminated against, because to an outsider, what they seem to do is odd or peculiar. In like stories of the past, like generally like the woman on the outside of the town that's alone, her husband died, she only talks to like animals. They were generally like already polarized, but they generally would grow like the town's fascination, and then because generally they were female, that grew the townspeople seem to have like disdain for them. So then they would have this label of witch, and then sometimes it would end in violence, whereas other times it just led to more polarization. But it seems like within 2020, it's not just polarization from society, it's polarization from themselves. They're drawing like lines in the sand between like the left and the right side, and it's just, I don't know, it's funny, I guess. It's not escaping any of the communities, the political divide. That's I guess I can see where you're coming from, where it's like mind blown, but at the same time it's like not surprising. Everything just is so charged up that even the witches are squabbling. Yeah, which is again why I we've talked about this in the past. This political party system does not work for a united nation. It only creates divide and, again, polarization. Yeah. So, and it was actually really interesting because I stumbled across George Washington's going away from the presidential speech, and he talked about how one of his main concerns for the country in the future was political parties. He discussed how we need to do away with the political party system because it only creates division. Mm-hmm. And even like at the birthing of our country, there was this fear of that divide. And I think because we haven't listened to that voice of reason, we are where we're at today in 2020 with this great divide between left and right, brother and sister, mother and father, that kind of thing. And it's just fascinating. But I will say, like, I have come to really respect, like, the pagan community for... They do something that I don't see often in a lot of religious circles. A lot of religions, or at least maybe in the evangelical church, I see a lot of people that live their lives as their lives, and church is on Sunday. God is on Sunday. Whereas the witches seem to bring their spirituality into their everyday life. So it makes sense that they have their political leanings, and they bring their spirituality into their practice and into their political, like, decision making. So I respect them for that. Like, they're making what their spirituality is as a whole, like, wholly a part of their lives. And so I respect them for that, even though I don't agree with a lot of, practices and thought processes. But it is, I think, a good thing that they believe in something enough to bring it into their everyday life.
I was just going to say, that suggests that they truly do believe what they say they believe in. If they're living it, that's like your proof in the pudding. That's your demonstration that, like, they mean it.
Mm-hmm, exactly. But I guess, like, one of the main debacles within the community is witches and pagans have always... I guess this is where the argument comes in. There's always been a left-leaning, I guess, where they're just more progressive in thought because they have been the outcasts of society. They try to stand out for other outcasts in the society. Sure. And so for people who consider themselves witches or pagans to lean more on the right, the left side is going, whoa, what are you doing? You're kind of, like, doing away with your history, your what sets us apart. And for those people on the right, they're saying, like, no, like, our spirituality can take place even if we want to vote for Trump, or even if we do, like, lean more conservative in our thought process. So it's been really interesting, I think. But their opposing forces, if you will, are witches from across the U.S., and they've been, like, casting spells to magic away President Trump. According to a Medium post, these witches will perform, like, a ritual to ensure that Joe Biden wins the presidency. As we've seen so far, I mean, from what it looks like, the left-leaning witches, which seem to have more on their side.
Yeah, they had the more powerful spell, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Or, I mean, maybe the conservatives. Like I said, that Witches for Trump page on Facebook has about 2,000 likes. And there are other groups on Facebook that have similar, like, leanings. But it seems like numbers are on the left side of the witch spectrum.
I believe that. That seems to make sense.
Yeah. But I guess there was this huge, like, casting of what was called the Blue Wave, which is a spell under a blue moon, which I guess was, like, visible on Halloween. The witches, they performed magic the night before the election, just to be on the safe side. And in a post by Michael M. Hughes, a self-described magical thinker, shared an easy and powerful ritual for people to follow. And it went something like this. It involved candles, a printout of the United States, a tarot card, a nail. I don't understand why the nail, I don't know. I don't get paganism in its entirety, guys, so please bear with me. And then the photos or campaign literature of Democratic candidates, which, again, is hilarious to me. According to Hughes, it's best performed at, like, midnight or noon. And he wrote that if you have an altar, use it. If you don't have an altar, clear a quiet, private space to serve as one. And then participants were actually instructed to chant blue wave rise, blue wave wash over the land, blue wave cleanse, blue wave renew. And then I guess there were like ad libs of wash away the Nazis, wash away the hate. I guess that was like also encouraged in like the chanting. I'm sorry. I'm taking this seriously, but it's funny that like there were ad libs like that were also encouraged in that chant.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you a general question, like your opinion, like of witchcraft or casting spells and stuff like that. Like, do you think it does anything?
I mean, there's something to prayer. There's something to putting, your energy into the universe and hoping for something to come back at you.
Our Christian background kind of showed us that there does seem to be evidence that prayer has power, right?
Yeah, I would agree. Prayer has power.
Is these rituals and these spells like really that different?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I truly think that words have meanings, and I think that like you can speak life and death over people. Not like you speak like the word death and like someone drops their deathbed, but I think there is like something to our words. There's an energy that goes from us,
and not only in the words. I mean, the words like seem to be the tool, but it seems to me more like about just somehow sending your energy and your intention out.
Yeah, the intention of it.
Like
which, I don't know, like
we very much are beings of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
How crazy is it to think that we could send our energy elsewhere?
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, I think there's something to that. I believe in prayer. And I think there's something that happens when you do pray. But again, I think it's all about intention and the energy. I mean, it's kind of like in the psychology realm, there's like energy that gets pent up, which is why yoga can be so like good. But like crying or screaming, that's energy that comes out, and once you're done crying or screaming, like you generally feel better. And that's just that extra energy and that emotion that comes out of you, and like things start to clear up. So I could see where, the belief is in this chant, and I don't know. There's something to it. I don't think science has disproven that when we put intention out there that, nothing happens. I think there is something that happens. And maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's, what would you call it? What's the word with a P? We'll cut that out. But yeah, no, it seems like something happens. So I could see where, they're doing something, and it seems like so far it's worked on Biden's watch. But I guess there's also a hashtag that has sprung up for those opposed to Trump, and it's called #WitchTheVote. And according to the group, it is a collective of intersectional effort to direct their magic towards electing candidates who will push like the country and the planet forward into the witch utopia we all envision, which I don't understand what the witch utopia is that they envision. I'd have to like do more research into it, but
can I go on a random little tangent right now?
Sure, go ahead.
There's I was recently thinking about this. Sorry, my voice is cracking.
You should be sorry.
When I was a little kid, and I was, being taught that there's power in prayer. Your prayers mean something. God is always listening to you, Ethan. Mm-hmm. I heard that. And so I was a huge
Muskego.
I was a huge sports fan. when I was a kid, and there were so many, like, hundreds of Cubs games. You know, I listened to most of them on the radio. Watched Packer games. I mean, like, I was a huge sports fan, and there were so many games that would come down to the wire, you know, like ninth inning, bases loaded, 2 outs, 3-2 pitch. Like, I would pray for my team to win.
Did they win?
Well, sometimes, and then sometimes not. But the point is, though, like, it wasn't until I was much older that I thought, like, oh my God, there must be so many different people that pray for their team in that same moment.
Yeah.
When God is listening, who is he listening to?
That's a fair question.
Or is God completely out of the picture when it comes to sports games? Does he truly take his hands off everything, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Our free wills, our concentration when it comes to, like, execution in sports, like, all these different things, like, God just really truly takes his hands off and just says, nope, this is real competition. or does he, I don't know, like, say, oh, little Johnny over there, he needs a prayer to come true. He's had a hard time, so it's Johnny's that works out above everybody. Everybody else has to take a hit, except people who voted for Johnny too. But anyway, so yeah, it's.
I don't know. That's a fair question.
The same situation here. Like, you've got witches praying for Trump, and you got witches praying for Biden. What's God gonna do here? Is who's he listening to? Whose side is God on?
Fair question, I think. That actually reminded me of when I was a kid. My dad would always say, we were Sox fans, and he would always say, like, okay, like, Mariah, you, like, say home run right now, say home run. And you'd say, like, home run, and sure enough, like, they'd hit a home run or something like that. And I legitimately thought as a small child that when my dad told me to say home run and I said it would come true.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about prayer. It was almost like, in a way, it was like manifesting, basically. Like, all right, like, manifest this home run.
These weird superstitions when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
They gotta be wearing this pair of socks when they're playing. If the Packers have a night game instead of a noon game, then I have to be listening on the radio instead of watching on the TV. It's fucking real, and it's
even so odd that we do that.
The most logical people in the world, the most devout religious people in the world, have superstitions when it comes to sports.
Yeah, it's funny.
Anyway,
I love it.
I completely derailed you.
No, that's okay. I was just going on about this Witch the Vote situation. This hashtag that I happened to find. So when I originally started looking into this article, I kind of wanted to, like, lean more towards the... I wanted to, like, give more press to the witches that were on Trump's side. Not for Trump's sake or anything, but it does seem to be something that they are feeling polarized for. And so I was going to go more into that, but then as I was researching a little bit more, the left side kind of, like, I guess took, I guess they were just more fascinating. So this, like, whole Witch the Vote hashtag, like, that caught my attention more than, like, this polarized group of witches on Facebook. But I guess with a resurgence of witches in popular culture over the past 4 years between, like, Netflix teen drama, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is terrifying, by the way. I like, watched one episode and I was like, nope, I'm scared. I guess with, like, the beauty retailer Sephora, they had, like, a starter witch kit, which eventually was, like, removed due to, like, backlash and stuff. And then there's, like, a revival of cult classic teen movies, like, such as, like, The Craft. And then TikTok, obviously, has been a huge platform for witches to come on. I don't know if you've ever watched TikToks, but they're, like, really funny, actually. It's like, it's like, oh, if you like spit on like something of your like, say you don't like a coworker, like go over there and spit on something of theirs, and then they're gonna have like a bad day or something, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? But I guess like it's become more popular.
They teach spells.
Yeah, they teach spells, invocations. They show you how to like set up like, what do you call it? Where they, what am I thinking of? We're gonna have to cut that too. Altars. Where like how you can set up like altars and that kind of thing. So I guess it's like witches and pagans have really like have come to their own in 2020. They're a little bit more accepted just because I think the majority of Western culture feels bad for what happened with like the Salem witch trials and polarizing those people. So I think they've just kind of come to their own, and they're no longer facing the same amount of backlash, although I do think that they do face a lot still. But it does seem to be a group that's really like taking some steam, and they're going forward with, their motion. So I guess it's like, it's trending. The witch seems to just be having their own like cultural movement. Or moment, I guess, if you will. Books such as like Pam Grossman's Waking the Witch, which was like published, I think, in 2019, has attracted widespread media attention. Public interest in astrology and tarot card readings has also like grown exponentially. I don't know, like even Etsy has like pages and pages upon which like you can get different designs of tarot cards. And even for people who don't practice paganism or witchcraft, like tarot cards are pretty. And they've drawn attention. So people have like decks of tarot cards in their homes, even though they have no idea how to use them. They just like them for like the aesthetic almost. So again, aesthetically, like witchcraft and mysticism circulate pretty easily on what seems to be like today's social media platforms, such as like Instagram and again TikTok. Colorful crystals, elaborate altars. They make for really pretty photos and videos. And from a branding perspective, the witch's popularity makes sense within like a larger cultural interest in like spirituality and like wellness and mysticism. So it's been really interesting to see almost this drama unfold, but it is also interesting because I guess I hadn't even noticed the steam that the witch and the pagan community has really taken with, this like this century, really. What was once a very group on the outside of society has seemed to kind of come into their own, and it's been interesting. But back to the witches for Trump, again, they're feeling marginalized by what was once their community, and so now they're having to create a micro community in what was, once their community, and they're finding it really difficult because, a lot of pagans and witches are saying, like, you basically revoke your privileges of practicing if you vote for someone like Trump, or if you lean conservatively towards, the pro-life issue or anything else. So these witches are having to find their own platform and create it for themselves. And a lot of them seem to be kind of like, I hate to say it, but like kind of like crazy Karens. I mean, one of the posts that I found on the Witches for Trump's page, and I'll just read it to you so that I don't, there's no margin of error, but one of their posts that they put up was, big tech leftist scumbags believe that their blatant lies, censorship, and authoritarian bigotry will make all conservatives leave their platforms. Then they will be able to brainwash everyone else with zero opposition. Well, we're staying in capitals. We'll be occupying your websites in patriotic protest, and we have a lifetime supply of red pills. P.S. The only things Joe Biden won are the million memes jackpot and a possible future prison sentence. So, you can see, And then the caption to this post was, "Hey Zuckerberg, did you really think you'd get rid of us that easily?"
Yeah, see, I'm sensing a deeper issue here other than witchcraft. There's something else going on.
There is. Yeah, so like at first I felt bad because I was like, this isn't, they have been so marginalized by society. It's unfair how people have treated them, and for their like own like community to divide up and push them out is kind of like, it's not nice, it's unkind. But then going through some of the posts, I was like, I get it. Another one was like, I guess a tweet from President Trump, and it was like, "He only won in the eyes of fake news media. I concede nothing. We have a long way to go. This was a rigged election." And then like just a lot of like loves and shares and likes, and it's just, I don't know, it's funny to me.
Yeah. Again, I think this is a deeper issue other than like the religion, because I've got devoutly Christian friends who are saying that same rhetoric. Like,
exactly. This is how.
Do you know what it is? Donald Trump is the new religion. Donald Trump is the new God, and these followers of his will just believe anything that he says. And what he's saying right
pushing
now
that. He's the next coming of Christ.
The Democrats cheated. That's what he yesterday tweeted. "I won the election."
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and that's what QAnon's pushing. They're pushing that Trump is the next coming of Christ, and I don't know, like, he doesn't look very Christ-like to me. If you're very familiar with the Christ of the New Testament, or even,
don't make me think about Donald Trump on a cross.
Right? Like, what? But it's very interesting but can you see how easily I was able to find this article in the mash of modern day prophets from the evangelical like Christian church? This was in those layers of same articles. It wasn't just, something that I happened to find. It was enmeshed with everything else, and it was wild to me but then once I started to like delve into like what these witches for Trump were saying and what they were posting, it's like, this makes sense why they would come up with evangelical prophets also saying that Trump won, fake news, the leftist side, lizard people are all they all rigged everything, and like we're all going down. But yeah, like another post is like, "Alert, Joe Biden is not president-elect." Like, anyone trying to tell you he is equals part of the problem. Yeah. Like those kinds of things.
Sure
it's very much like
that video that's going around of that Texas televangelist Kenneth Copeland.
Oh no! I do not like Kenneth Copeland.
Oh my God! It's like, oh, watch it. Anybody who hasn't seen it, look at it.
If anyone is like demonically possessed, I believe it is Kenneth Copeland. Have you ever seen an interview with him?
That's a perfect way to describe this video.
He is wild.
Laughing like you say, like he's possessed at the notion that Biden has won the election.
And he like stares at the camera and has like long pauses it's very awkward to watch him. I remember at the beginning of COVID, one of my favorite YouTubers, Gus Johnson, he posted a video on Kenneth Copeland and do you remember that? I think I sent that to you.
He was rebuking COVID.
He was rebuking COVID, and then he was stating, like, "I want you in my church. Like, I don't care. Like, we'll just pray the sickness away from you."
He was literally, like, wishing it to death.
Yeah, but his like, anchors that were with him, they were, like, And Gus Johnson said it perfectly. He was like, I don't know if these guys are terrified of him or if they really believe, like, the garbage that he's putting out there. But, like, these anchors were just sitting there like, oh, yeah, oh, okay, so what you're saying is... And it was just like, what is he saying? He's saying some, like, wild stuff about COVID, and I don't know, it was wild. But Kenneth Copeland is an odd creature. But, yeah, like, I will stand with that. If anyone is possessed, it is definitely him.
Sorry for...
But it does seem to be... Oh, go ahead.
No, you continue. I said I'm sorry for derailing you again.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's funny to me, I guess. I don't know, this whole, again, I feel very apolitical when it comes to things like this, but with this whole election, it has definitely brought out interest in politics from me, like, not for politics itself, but just because of the people that are so strongly feeling this election, and they're so divided, and literally, like, both sides they're the same, they're opposite sides of the same coin to me.
The whole world has literally just become the best reality TV.
Yeah, America, I think, is a reality TV show. If we are in an alternate reality, like Mike TV's watching us somewhere and laughing at this political divide, which, again, like, is why I will probably always stand with, we need to do away with these political parties so that we can find basic commonalities and work together instead of working against one another. I don't think that hating the opposite group and saying that they're liars, that they're fake news, that they're anti-life, that those kinds of things and sentences, I don't think are going to progress us forward as a nation that is unified. I think what we need to do is find visions that we can work together with. Like, okay, let's say, like the drug issue. Like, let's work together on that. Let's figure out how we can best protect our citizens and move forward. Like, let's find some commonalities that can work to the populace's advantage, and then we can work out our disagreements in private, and we can figure out how to just go forward instead of just constantly batting each other in the faces. I don't see us working well together. I don't know. It's like a group project in school. We're all supposed to be working towards a common goal. Let's get a good grade, but instead everyone's fighting about who does what. And I don't know, it's not good. It's not good at all. And in that, I mean, my purpose for this whole podcast originally was I wanted to talk about, conspiracy theories on, like, end of days, because that's also something that's happening in the modern day prophets, I don't know what you would call it, prophet community. A lot of people are predicting, like, the end of times again, like we haven't learned from the past at all. And generally, cults have always been the place where you can go and find end of day rhetoric and how to save yourself from the end of days. But it seems to be more prevalent now in just everyday society. And people are really concerned that this is the end of days. So I was researching originally end of days, like crazy conspiracies and, failed doomsday predictions, basically. But then I happened to stumble across this and I thought it was more fascinating. But, I mean, just as an example, like I don't know, I have a belief in Jesus Christ. I believe that, one day he will return, but I don't think that it's going to be the end of the world. I think it's just the end of an era. And I don't want to get too much into that because that's just my personal belief. But, I mean, predicting doomsday, I think, is a rocky road to go down because most of the time the doomsday predictions that have come up have gone very bad. I mean, Charles Manson, like, he's a perfect example. Exactly, like, he's a perfect example. He predicted that there would be an end of days and that there would be race wars in the end of days, and so he took his, like, Charles Manson family and tried to go underground into, like, caves and stuff. And when his prediction failed, he tried to incite race wars. And so it's just like, it's just a common thread that pops up in all of these, I would say, cults, where they predict end of days. You know, they look at the world and say, like, it's coming to an end. We have earthquakes and famine and hunger and, you know, all these things. And it's just like, those things have been around for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. You know, nothing has truly changed. It's history repeating itself over and over again. And I think looking forward to the end of days can be really troubling. I mean, one of the end of days, like, one of the failed doomsday predictions is the Halley's Comet panic. Have you ever heard of that, Ethan?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, well, basically, like, the Halley's Comet was passing by the Earth, and it was approximately, like, it passes by Earth approximately, like, 76 years, every 76 years, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. But the nearness of its approach in, like, 1910 created this, like, huge fear that it would destroy the planet, either by, like, a celestial collision or through the poisonous gases it was rumored to, like, contain. And so a worldwide panic ensued, stoked by the media, and such newspaper headlines like, "Comet may kill all life on Earth," says scientists. But what happened was a group in Oklahoma tried to sacrifice a virgin to ward off the impending doom. And, like, you know, there was bottled air that was being sold as a very hot commodity. And then the Earth probably did pass through part of the comet's tail, but no apparent effect actually happened. And, you know, that's a failed doomsday prediction, that the end of the world was nigh, and, you know, nothing really happened with that. So I don't know, it's really interesting. But the fear mongering and the stoking of people's passions seems to be what I think is the problem. I mean, the fact that a group in Oklahoma tried to sacrifice a virgin, like, to ward off the celestial collision, is just crazy to me. You know, like, I think that's where we go wrong. Like, you can maybe look forward to the end of days if that is your prerogative, but really, like, rein in the passion behind it, I think.
That's a bunch of people who truly believe.
Yep. And, you know, belief is good. I think we all believe in something. And even if we don't think that we believe in something, we are influenced by the people around us or the beliefs and the words around us. So we're going to believe in something, whether we subconsciously or consciously
but you gotta
do it.
You gotta have a line, though. You gotta have a line.
Yes, exactly. There needs to be
to
some common sense behind it.
I believe up to here.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
When it comes to killing virgins, I stopped.
Exactly. Like, let's think about this for a moment. Let's use some common sense and reasoning to, you know, what is this going to get us? And, you know, maybe, I don't actually know if they ended up going forward with sacrificing virgin. I would assume as much from what I've heard from many different cults, like, they will go to whatever ends justifies in their eyes the means. I don't know if they ended up doing that, and if they did, they probably thought that they did what was right, you know, because Halley's Comet never actually, like, crushed us in the end. But the fact that they were willing to go to that, you know, end is insane to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's as much as I researched.
Dang, that's cool. That's fun to think about. I would have never thought about political witches.
Right? Again, it was mind-blowing. I know I keep using that
out
phrase,
there in
but
the woods doing what they can to influence the election. I love it.
I think, though, at the end of the day, like, without the whole political thing, again, like, mad respect for people who incorporate their spirituality in their everyday life. I think that's pretty spectacular for people in today's society, you know. I think most people today don't have faith. I think they have ideologies and, you know, their belief in ideologies, but nothing more than that. So, yeah, I don't know. Mad respect, I guess.
Cool. Well, thanks for preparing that for us. That was very interesting. That was fun to talk about, too. That was very fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Hopefully we can get this out there and you guys get some laughs out of it. And, I don't know. Let us know what you think. I will say, though, what you sent me on that Catholic man, I can't remember his name, but the guy who's writing like hymns for Trump, that has also been very interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know if I should say his name or not, but yeah, very, very interesting. Yeah.
YouTuber? Influencer? I don't know.
He's another one of those believers. He really believes.
Yep, yeah. He's been fascinating. I like can get behind his like songs. Not that I like agree with, you know, what he's saying, but like you know, he's trying. He's putting himself out there.
Don't you
and
love his song?
Good for him.
He sings a modern day hymn. He's on like an electric piano and everything, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Donald Trump is our leader.
Yes. Oh, another thing, I guess this would be final thoughts. Isn't it really funny how, like, everyone on TikTok is very much, like, getting into dancing and, like, is all about, like, putting their swing into, like, modern-day songs, mostly rap and stuff. But what has been the funniest thing to me is all of these kids in middle school could not bring themselves to dance with, you know, a partner in their school dance. But now they're all up on TikTok for the world to see, showing their grooves. Yeah,
that is kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it is funny. But yeah, that's what's been fascinating me recently. So, well, I guess that would be a good place to wrap up. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the podcast. I enjoyed talking with you, Ethan, as usual.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Well, bye, guys.
Peace out, bitches.